Ah, I don't know if anybody will be able to hear this. Who knows? Who knows? But hey, it's closing and stuff. I finally got those lights. Maybe with all the background noises, you can still hear me. Eh, either way, I don't know. Overall point is, you can't really blame me, I guess. Well, you can, but overall point is, if I can't, if I'm not being able to be heard in the stream, I'm going to have to end it. Overall point being, I'm going to probably miss a lot of life shots. So, bear in mind. So to be focused on my stuff. As the title suggests, I'm not specifically talking about the whole thing. So you'll get the idea what I'm actually talking about when I talk about this guy. It's an idea, and it's easy to discuss people, and a lot of people like to discuss people, like to Donald Trump. It's easy to get people going. It's easy to talk about the guy. And he does press a lot of buttons, as you could say for yourself. Yeah. I'm going to check my screen, and hopefully I am heard properly. Yeah, that's the thing. Look at these there. Okay, so perhaps if I check. All right, there we go. Now, to see if I'm heard. To exit out of StreamYards. And maybe this will work, and I don't know. Ah, I think it works. There we go. Because I guess I just need to hear the background and the overall points. Bing! There it is. But anyway, stop talking about bullshit. Yeah. So, Donald Trump. There's a reason why I want to talk about this, and of course, there's a lot of background noise. But if you can get past it, and maybe I do a better time, which is not this time. Yeah, listening to myself is going to be very, 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 very distracting. Like now I'm listening to myself at the same time. So there we go. Shut myself off, but I can't check YouTube at the same time because I just have to look at StreamYard chat every now and then. But anyway, I can't really focus on that. So the reason why I make this stream because I got bored. I want to do something at the same time. And I'll only get better as time goes by. Although all the noise in the background seems to be gone, which is good. Which is good. Though I think I need to cover my head more with the hoodie, wrap it in, and so check from all the noise that you guys probably don't hear at all. Donald Trump. Now, like I said before, you'll understand what I'm doing. I'm not going to talk about his policies and his job writing because that will make me write a real video detailing every success and failure that he's ever done. That is for me. This stream is just for fun. I want to talk about people's like weird ideas and their cognitive dissonance or confirmation bias every time this guy comes up, regardless of what they think of this guy. You know, anytime somebody talks about him, like news stations, this, that, and the other, he's basically public enemy number one. Wonder why. And there's a lot of people he's a big hero to. Like in Texas, they even got he's got his own like restaurant where people literally put his name on the burgers and eat it. Yep, he's got his own restaurant. That's how popular he is, and that's how big he is. We basically have a walking, talking, I guess, big man who achieves all great things by just, I guess, being controversial. Though that's kind of being unfair about it, but still. This is an interesting thing to talk about because for one, when this guy comes up to topic for any given day and every given evening, it's interesting because there's one thing to point out. Anytime somebody likes to talk about this guy, there's always some weird bias going into this. One may be the infatuated love for him. Sometimes there's going to be people treading on the lines of like trying not to anger people because they don't want to piss off anybody. And that's kind of the norm. You don't want to have confrontations, but primarily, if you go outside the internet, people do agree that, well, at least for the majority, people do agree that Trump isn't all that bad. It's just that dumb idea that we're implemented in our heads that, yeah, this guy is hated by everybody, but that's not the case. But half the world hates him, but the other half loves him. The idea of love and hate. Let's go into it. The reason is sometimes when people often discuss this guy, there's always going to be some sort of idea that he's bad or good. Let's elaborate. Sometimes when you talk with somebody, and sometimes there's like a YouTube chat about how good he is, if you get that one guy who just has some sort of weird fetish of starting YouTube arguments, there's always going to be that one guy. And usually what it means is that when a guy wants to comment on something, he's a bad person. The discussion breaks out and it turns into some sort of fetish of like creating trouble and drama within chats when there's not hated. And this is interesting when you bring up something that is factual. And their own state of mind and beliefs. This is why I talk about confirmation bias. We talk about this. Let's start with confirmation bias. It's interesting because every time I talk about this guy and everybody else talks about him, there's going to be one person. Now, let's say, for instance, I talk about Donald Trump and he has an interview with me. And there's an interview where he has a argument with a reporter, I guess, whoever she was, and her response is when Trump was saying there's a scandal is, no, there's not. This is interesting because you'll find things like a guy go and say, she called him out, and he's called, and he got mad and laughed, something like that. Now, I want to say this. One, you could attribute this to many things. Because, like, one, I call this, maybe this is not confirmation bias, this is just one guy seeing it his own way and finding ways to see it that way. But I'll elaborate even further. When you're telling the guy that is not calling something out, it is basically denying something that is happening. Because really, that's what it is. She didn't call it out. She just basically denied it. Imagine if the person just didn't respond to it. No, she did call it out. She called it out. He got mad at them. Yeah, that's what it means. That's how it works. Now, understand why I say this confirmation bias. One, obviously the guy doesn't like Trump. We can attribute that to that. Just not like it. Regardless of what the situation was in the context of the thing was and why he was talking about it, the whole central idea is that nothing was called out. It was denial. There was denial, a claim in the denial. Nothing was discussed. It was just a YouTube troll. So one guy complaining and coming out saying he called him out, not knowing the full context of what the interview was about. We just know for a fact that she said no, it's not, and Trump left because he didn't want to deal with it. And of course, no, people don't want to deal with it in the first place. Hold on, let me check something. Hold on, I'm checking something real quick. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's just me. I thought it was messing up, but that's not good. Yep. Anyway, point being, somebody that usually denies something and trying to confirm something in their heads usually will ignore other factors that come into play. For instance, if she's denying something and not listening to the first come, why say it to begin with if she's just going to argue, right? The issue is when she calls something out when she didn't in the first place, she's going to insert the idea she did call him out because he left, therefore it has to be that way. In the sense that it just doesn't make sense. To him it does, it has to. Otherwise, why would it leak? I attribute this to a lot of things, and I chalk this up to just being kind of just not listening to the thing and listening to what's going on. A lot of people tend to hold on to these attachments and feelings, beliefs, because that's what they are. That's their identity. A lot of people feel that and actively, and it's just subconsciously. It's oftentimes that when people get attached to these things, they don't know how to break out of it because this has to be the way. It becomes part of their idea and their identity. And it does. If something questions their identity, that's an out. How could this be possible? And a lot of times people do things that contradict themselves, their ideas and beliefs, in order to protect what they believe. If that doesn't make sense, let me elaborate. Often than not, when people utilize these, like, I call this contradictions. Often than not, when people discuss them, sometimes things are brought up about like other politicians, right? And usually it's because what they believe about Trump, they don't necessarily think about the other politicians. For instance, let's say they say Trump lies a lot. You say other politicians lie. Well, yeah, but correct that. What if you say Biden lies just as much as Trump? And they say, well, all politicians lie, but they still shame Trump for lying. Oftentimes they're not, if lying is bad, but they don't really think about the other politicians lying. It's not about the lying itself. It's the fact that they believe Trump is like the big bad man, the boogeyman, trying to take over the world or something. And often it comes from a lot of talking to people understand. They often think Trump's the boogeyman because that's what they're told. And why would there be lies? Well, newsflash, it's not about being lied to either. They don't care about the lie. They just care about hitting Trump because that's what they're told. It's the idea that somebody is bad. So how could that be a lie? Well, let's note this, that a lie, they don't care about necessarily the lie in the continuity thing. It's not necessarily like they actually care about the moral compass. They're not thinking about other politicians. They're not thinking about other ideas, and they're certainly not worried about other politicians lying or what they're doing. They just know they don't like Trump, and that's the thing. And then at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Usually, and maybe I should delete the because of the background noise. I hate the background noise. I can continue this later. Anyway, a part one and part two. I'm going to do that. I don't like the background. Tried it, failed. Next time. Don't worry.